After Trump finishes comforting Putin, his next move might be taking on China, going full force into competition with them. Right now, the mainstream media is pushing the narrative that Trump is anti-democracy, anti-allies, anti-Western Union, messing with Canada, messing with Mexico, alienating Europe, and even undermining Ukraine, his own proxy, by calling their leader a dictator. The media is claiming Trump is siding with Putin, selling out to him, and strengthening ties with an actual dictator. But the real question is what happened after Trump comforts Putin. Once the war in Ukraine is over and Russia is no longer an issue, what will Trump do next? Think about it. Once Putin settles down and becomes a close ally of Trump, once the war in Europe ends, Trump still has 4 years left in office. Since taking office on January 20th, 2025, it's barely been a month and he has already signed 70 executive orders. To put that in perspective, Joe Biden signed only 162 executive orders in his entire 4-year term. So Trump is a workaholic. He is going to need someone new to go up against. So who is next on his list? The media is saying he is turning into a dictator, that he is aligning himself with other strongmen to divide the world. They argue that Trump is ditching Western allies, breaking ties with Europe and North America, and joining forces with Russia and China. But what if that's not the full picture? What if after settling things with Putin and ending the war in Ukraine, Trump goes after China? Right now, his first move seems to be driving a wedge between China and Russia. And what is the fastest way to weaken their alliance? It is to end the Ukraine war. That removes their common enemy, the Western alliance, and another way is to lift sanction on Russia, making Russia less economically dependent on China. Trump actually talked about the importance of making sure Russia doesn't work with China in 2024, right before he took office.
The one thing, and I had a professor at the Wharton School of Finance, but we had history classes also. He said, the one thing you never want to happen is you never want Russia and China uniting. We united them because of the oil. We united them. Biden united them. It's a shame. The stupidity of what they've done. Well, I'm going to have to ununite them, and I think I can do that too. I have to ununite them. But early on, I've read, and you've learned, you never want Russia and China, and they're natural enemies because Russia has massive land and China needs it. Okay? They need that land. China doesn't have the land for the population. Russia has, if you ever look at the size of the Russian landmass, it's like 4 times or 5 times. Doesn't it have like 12 time zones or something? It's massive. They're a natural enemy, and we've allowed them to get together. It's such a dangerous thing. Another thing that we're doing is we're losing the dollar as the standard because of these people that are so. If we lose the dollar as the standard, that's like losing a war, and it'll never happen with me. There's no way that will happen with me. We got to put it back together. We cannot. That is like losing a war.
This could potentially be a reverse Nixon strategy, a mirror image of what happened in 1972. So back then, President Nixon aligned with China to counter the Soviet Union or the USSR. Today, the US may be attempting the opposite, which is allying with Russia to counter China. So what's the differences? So during the Nixon era, the USSR was significantly stronger than China, both militarily and economically. But right now, China is a lot stronger than Russia in both aspects. Of course, this strategy comes with major challenges. China and Russia declared a no-limit partnership in February of 2022, stating that there are no forbidden areas of cooperation between them. Breaking that alliance won't be easy. As we all know, Trump wasted no time after taking office, imposing 10% additional tariff on all Chinese imports. The China immediately retaliated with counter tariffs, but Trump seemingly put that conflict on hold right now just to focus on dealing with Putin. And now that talks with Putin appears to be making progress and the war in Ukraine is approaching an end, Trump can start ramping up his competition with China once again. For his potential competition against China, we have to mention another very important person who is Elon Musk, who is arguably the second most powerful politician figure in U.S., essentially Trump's right-hand man. He is the head of the department known as DOGE, or Department of Government Efficiency. However, Musk has a potential conflict of interest when it comes to China, because Tesla's biggest owner is Musk, and Musk is the CEO of Tesla. And Tesla's biggest production facility is in Shanghai, China. And in 2024, China accounted for 21.75% of Tesla's total revenue, making China the company's second largest market. When Tesla was opening up a factory in Shanghai, Elon Musk worked closely with Li Qian, who was then the party secretary of Shanghai. And right now, Li Qian has risen to the premier of China, effectively making him also the second most powerful figure in China. So if Trump fully commit to a competitive stance against China, it remains to be seen how Musk will manage this conflict of interest is kind of unknown. But that said, Elon Musk's close tie with China also means he understands China. He understands the country exceptionally well. And as Trump's closest advisor, one thing is for certain. Musk will ensure Donald Trump fully grasps just how competitive China really is and the scale of the economic challenge it poses to the U.S.
Well, the sheer number of really smart, hardworking people in China is incredible. There are really, if you say like how many smart, hardworking people are there in China? There's far more of them there than there are here, I think, in my opinion. And they've got a lot of energy. So, I mean, the architecture in China that's in recent years is far more impressive than the U.S. I mean, the train stations, the buildings, the high-speed rail, everything. It's really far more impressive than what we have in the U.S. I mean, I recommend somebody just go to Shanghai and Beijing, look at the buildings, and go to, take the train from Beijing to Xi'an, where you have the terracotta warriors. What we're going to see with China for the first time that anyone can remember who is alive is an economy that is twice the size of the U.S., possibly 3 times the size of the U.S. It's going to be very weird living in that world. So we better stop the infighting in the U.S. and stop punching ourselves in the face, because there's way too much of America punching itself in the damn face. It's just dumb. And think about hey, we got to be competitive here. And there's a new kid on the block that's going to be 2 to 3 times our size. We better step up our game.